Thank you.
I am Nora Brown Newville for the Women NGO Secretary of Liberia.
Wongo for short. So thank you again for coming. We have a statement. We'll read the statement and entertain questions if there are any. Joint press statement by civil society organizations on the October 10, 2023 elections. Maintain the integrity of the elections and preserve the peace. CSO score on net in political parties and candidates. October 17, 2023. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, fellow Liberians and development partners. A very warm welcome to this press conference convened by several renowned civil society organizations. They include the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, Integrity Watch Liberia, Organization for Women and Children, Women NGO Secretariat, Public Health Initiative of Liberia, and Accountability Lab Liberia. Others are Institute for Research and Democratic Development, Paramount Young Women Initiative, Community Healthcare Initiative, Sister A Liberia Incorporated, Civil Society and Human Rights Advocacy Platform, and Case Educational Engagement Program. These and other CSOs have been very active during these elections, in part through conducting civic and voters education, monitoring or observing campaign promises and finance, electoral violence, including those targeting women and disadvantaged groups, voting, etc. We recognize cordial working relationships and mutually benefiting partnerships with the National Elections Commission, the media, and other stakeholders that made these contributions possible. Exactly 1 week ago, Liberians massively turned out to elect leaders of their choice, including a president, vice president, 15 senators, and 73 representatives. We applaud their courage and commitment to vote and shape the country's future, despite some of their past and current leaders not doing enough to tangibly transform their lives. As observed by both local and international observers, overall, the voting process was conducted in a peaceful and free manner. Access to the voting centers and ballot counting process allowed civil society, the media, representatives of political parties and independent candidates, and international partners to closely observe the process, thus increasing its inclusiveness, transparency, and credibility. The National Elections Commission has been tallying and announcing provisional results from the elections in largely transparent and open manner. These are notable positive developments and signs of the growth of Liberia's democracy. Despite the process of the voting and ongoing announcement of preliminary results, despite success, of the voting and ongoing announcement of preliminary results, we are concerned about multiple issues associated with the elections. Firstly, the pace of the counting and announcement processes is very slow, especially for highly accessible areas. With increased anxiety and brewing tension among citizens, political parties, and candidates, NEC needs to be more efficient in tallying and announcing final results to calm down nerves. After nearly 1 week, the tallied votes and results from some counties and districts are still below 60%. This is concerning. Additionally, it is concerning to observe the confrontational approach taken by NEC commissioners when interacting with journalists. This adds to the very late start of daily press conference, 5 p.m. instead of the 4:30 p.m. schedule publicized. Unexplained delays in announcing final results from Electoral District 8 in Montserrat County, District 2 in Maryland County, and District 4 in Grand Bassa County raises concerns. We acknowledge the 15-day window stipulated in Article 83C of the Liberian Constitution. However, we also observe the slow pace with which results are announced, as well as the delay in releasing results from places that are obviously accessible in favor of more remote areas without any reason given by the Commission. The more the results are delayed, With no clear information and explanations, the more people will speculate about alleged wrongdoings or foul play. It is in NEC's best interest, as well as the integrity of the elections and peace of the country, to timely process and announce all results from the elections. Finally, we have received disturbing reports of violence and storming of tallying centers in Monserrado and Neighbor counties by supporters of some political parties and candidates, especially the Coalition for Democratic Change. This is extremely troubling, as it could be interpreted as attempts to manipulate or undermine the integrity, transparency, and independence of the vote counting process. Furthermore, we are deeply concerned about some candidates and political parties declaring themselves as winners when NEC is the only institution mandated by law to do so. This is a recipe for violence, as it may incite overzealous partisans and supporters to act in ways that jeopardize the peace of the country. Calm and maturity are needed as we await the final results from the National Elections Commission. Recommendations. In view of the above, we like to make the following broad and specific recommendations. 1. To the National Elections Commission. Enhance efficiency and expediency in counting. Enhance efficiency and expediency in counting and reporting or announcing the election results, as well as respect time announced for commencement of the daily press conference. Show understanding and empathy when addressing concerns from journalists. 3. Fully implement guidelines and regulations governing the elections, including but not limited to sanctioning candidates and political parties that will contravene established laws. 4. Clearly inform the public about reasons why some districts are yet to be completed, especially in accessible locations. Recommendations to political parties and independent candidates. Respect the electoral rules and guidelines and refrain from individual and collective actions that could undermine the credibility of the elections, as well as incite violence and jeopardize the peace of the country. 3. Recommendations to stakeholders and other civil society. Continue the engagements with the electoral process, working collaboratively with the National Elections Commission to ensure a free, transparent, and credible process. In conclusion, as the electoral process is still ongoing, we would like to call on all candidates and political parties, as well as the general public, to remain calm, peaceful, tolerant, and closely observe the process. We urge individuals and groups with grievances to address them through established mechanisms. The rule of law must prevail at all times in Liberia, especially during these elections. Let's work to preserve the peace and show to the world that we are capable of managing our electoral and other critical processes with the required levels of inclusiveness, transparency, fairness, and integrity. Thank you. This has been a statement from multiple civil society organizations. We have the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. We have Community Health Care Initiative. We have the Civil Society Human Rights Advocacy Platform of Liberia. We have the Organization for Women and Children, Integrity Watch Liberia, Accountability Lab Liberia, Institute for Research and Democratic Development, Public Health Initiative of Liberia, Sister A Liberia Incorporated, Women NGO Secretariat of Liberia, Paramount Young Women Initiative, and the CASE Educational Empowerment Program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now time to ask the questions. If you have questions, you can ask. Just raise your hand, I recognize you, and then you ask. Yes. That's it.
Yes, so my name is Prince Mova, and I report for Crown FM and Focus on the Broad TV from the States. So I had just one concern. Even though you have called on political parties to wait for the NEC to announce official results, but my concern is the civil society organizations will always come up with these press statements when there are elections or when there are crises. But the political parties will continue to do what they think best for them. For example, the opposition and the ruling party both are claiming victory ahead of the final results. what other flavor or what else can the CSOs do in ensuring that nothing comes off if the NEC results do not favor either of the parties? Because everybody is saying I have valid tally sheet in my possession, and it tells me that they tell me rather that I won the elections. There where my questions coming from.
So, civil society organizations, our job is to monitor and observe these processes and call for the requisite civil society, institutions to take action. The law mandates the NEC to take certain actions against bad laws. We can only call on them to the process. There are some organizations and institutions and networks who are monitoring the processes, and maybe they might take some level of actions to mandate some of those organizations to do their duty, which is provided for under the law. But we cannot usurp their role in this democratic process.
So we take Spoon TV.
Thank you. I'm Sylvester Chilpe. I work for the Spoon Network. You spoke about unexplained issue by NEC in terms of provisional results announcements in District Number 2, Maryland County, and District 8, Massachusetts County. I want to know, why are you suspecting so far of which those two areas up to now there haven't been any completion from that area or those areas?
Well, we're not suspecting anything. We are calling on the NEC and the relevant authorities to investigate. We have all seen media reports of these disturbances, of these disturbing events are tallying results reported in the media, and we would like to know who is responsible. And like I said, the key person responsible to investigate is the Ministry of Justice. So we're calling on them to do their job, investigate, and tell us who is responsible. And whoever is responsible must be prosecuted in line with the rule of the law.
Let's take our New Dawn.
I'm Louis Sten. I read for the New Dawn newspaper. I'm concerned. You complain about the NEC releasing the results on a very slow pace. So I'm asking, how quick do you want the result to be announced, knowing full well that NEC have 15 days in their power to do so?
We were clear in the statement that we recognize the 15-day window the commission has. By having 15 days does not mean you have to exhaust those days, especially when tension is brewing, when people are declaring themselves winners and all of that, and when there's anxiety. I tell you, it appears the country is at a standstill, at a moment because of the whole wait and see kind of thing that is happening around the announcement of the election results. So there are some partners who are supposed to visit the country. We have one, for example. They've postponed their trips 2 times now because of the uncertainty around what's going to happen around the elections. So it's just important, and it's just not central. There are other groups. So schools are closed, as you know. The UL put a statement out announcing indefinite suspension of classes, that they are not resuming. No date was given until they can get back to the public. There are different schools that have done that. So Tiamon, for example, Christian school system, several schools. So all we're saying is be a bit more speeded, even though you have 15 days. We recognize that. That's what the law says. But you can still be efficient. We also pointed out the issue around announcing 4:30 for the press conference and starting 5 o'clock and even beyond in some instances. That's not better time management. If it happens one time, it's different. But since next started having the press conferences, it has become habitual that they tell people come 4:30, partners come with journalists, civil society actors, and different players, and then they're walking almost 5 o'clock to start the press conference. That's not a good sign. So it's important that they respect the time that they've given. If for any reason or reasons they can begin the press conference on around 4:30, just at time, and moving forward, 5 o'clock will be the time that we begin the press conference. Simple as that. So these are things that we've observed, and we're communicating to the public and the commission so that it takes heed and does the needful.
We take freedom and maybe one more. Then
I'm Thomas Ojo Rolak.
You know, people patiently waiting to get the results from the elections. It's just important that NEC announces those results. But then, if we see a trend that, for example, in the case of District 8 in Montserrat County, I think there are 83 polling places, and 81 or 2 of those polling places have been announced. That one has been lingering for 2 different days now. If I stand to be corrected, there's no clarity or information on why the remaining 1 or 2 polling places have not been counted for the full results to be announced. So we're saying it's important in such a case for the commission to very clearly communicate with the public that even though 2 days ago we announced almost 95% or 99% of the results from SYP districts, but today we'll not be announcing the remaining 2% or 1% because there are some issues that we're still looking into. But to leave it hanging, you know, that everybody expects that by 99% or 98% you are almost done, and it will take you just hours to conclude the remaining precincts or centers, and then will come no information, then it raises concerns. That's why we're saying clear communication to the public is important, so that at least whatever fears that people may have, we're not suspecting anything. We're saying be proactive, communicate in a timely manner, so that people have information that they can use to engage.
Yes, sir. So, please, since you are from an integrated institution, I believe you have significant knowledge about when it comes to integrity, transparency, and credibility. Are you really satisfied with the electoral process being handled by NEC?
We indicated in the statement that based on the different observation reports from international and local partners, the elections were conducted in largely fair and transparent manner. And even the vote counting process that is ongoing, there's a level of inclusiveness. Civil society, international partners, and different players are monitoring the process. So the statement is very clear that we recognize the efforts that have been made, the relatively transparent manners in which the different processes have been conducted. However, we outlined a number of issues, including the ones that we just talked about, that NEC needs to look at, including the violent situations, storming of tallying centers and all of that, that have the proclivity to undermine the credibility and the transparency of the process, especially the independence of the actors that are counting those ballots before forwarding the information to central office to be announced to the public.
So we take Cool FM and then we squeeze in ABC for the last question.
Okay, my name is Theophilus and I report for Cool. What would be Center's standpoint if NEC go against the integrity bond of the institution?
This is a joint statement, so Center is not issuing the statement alone. That's why you were seeing civil society leaders across the table here represented. Of course, there's not a full group, but we're representing the entirety of the group. Like she said, we have a rule as civil society actors in the space, and NEC and the other actors like the Ministry of Justice, they have their rules. So we can restrict what we do to what we have to do. If the need arises for us to change course or maybe take other actions that are within the confines of our mandate, we will do that. But at the moment, we're raising these issues as observers of the process. We highlighted a number of things that civil society organizations have been doing. My colleague speaking here was a lot, around gender issues. They've been providing support to women groups, monitoring violence, especially violence against women. Wongo Soy and other groups are doing a number of things. Other groups are monitoring campaign finance. We ourselves are, we're monitoring campaign finance at Center and looking at the commitments that people are making, the promises. So multiple engagements civil society organizations are having. And those things are within the confines of our work, our mandates. We cannot go away from what we have to do. If the need arises for us to collaborate and change course in terms of taking other measures that are legally permissible and within the confines of our mandate, we will do that. But at the moment, we are focused more on raising the issues and the attention, calling the attention of NEC and other players to act in ways that will help to preserve the peace, will calm down nerves and the brewing tension, and to also ensure that we maintain the integrity, the transparency, the sanctity of the elections, as well as its independence.
And just before you conclude, she will say something, and then I will recognize the lady there to ask a question.
So, all right.
No,
So, just to buttress what he's saying, it's just a awareness raising of what is going on, and so that precaution will be taken. Because in the absence of communication, wrong perception, and all of those will come in and will stir up something that we do not want. We want to maintain this peace and the fair play that the election has been taken. So that's it.
Yes.
Okay, so from your statement and from what we've been seeing around here, there is growing tension, and you find the major political parties declaring themselves winners, and obviously the two parties cannot become winners at the same time. Do you see a post-election violence after the official result has been announced by NEC, based on what we see currently?
Well, I don't think and I don't see that there would be conflict, because the process is genuine and the results are not so voluminously indifferent that you will say, oh yes, something is going on. But what I suspect is that we may go for the second round.
We are not in a business of making presumptions. Our duty is to sound the warning when we see early warning signs. There are indicators that the peace people put together. They say, when you see this, then this will happen. So when we see those happening that violate established rules, mechanisms for peace, then it is our duty as monitors of an independent system to sound out this warning, and this is what we are doing. We do not infer by our statement that we think something is going to happen. No, we're only saying that it is all of us responsibility. All actors under the law have a constitutional duty to keep the peace, to do their duty by the people who has put their trust in them. And there's the warning we are sounding.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming in. That ends this press conference. Thank you. I look forward to hearing you later.
So, my name is Prince Mova. That was a joint press statement from Source of Conversation, by Santa Boss, and Thanks for being there, Papa.